Two American cities woke up yesterday to cars with nobody in them. No driver, no minder riding shotgun, just steel moving on its own judgment through Florida traffic. This is Wednesday, July 22nd, 2026. And that happened exactly one day before the company has to stand up and answer for itself. Warband. The timing is the whole story. Start with the anchor. As of just past 5 o'clock Eastern, Bitcoin trades at 66,000 flat on the day, holding the 1-month high it printed above 66,400 yesterday afternoon. Now the honest read of our engine, because you pay for the signal and not the applause. At midnight Eastern, our read of the InvestAnswers Decision Support System tagged Bitcoin mean reversion overbought. 4 hours later, at 4 o'clock this morning, it rolled the optimized trend back to bearish. Red. Count the flips with me. Green Friday afternoon. Red Monday at dawn. Green Tuesday morning. Red again this morning. 4 turns in 5 days. Understand what that actually tells you. It is not a trend model failing. It is a trend model reporting the truth that there is no trend here to find. This is CHOP. Ethereum and Solana both fired mean reversion overbought last night at 8. When a whole complex runs to overbought and the leader's trend snaps underneath it, you do not chase the candle, you let the tape show its hand. Into today, Tesla closed last night at 379 and Nvidia at 207. Now to Florida. Yesterday, Tuesday the 21st, Tesla switched on driverless robotaxi service in Orlando and in Tampa, confirmed by Reuters and by the local wire in Tampa the same afternoon. Fully driverless, no safety monitor in the car, model-wise, not the cybercab. That is 18 days after the Miami launch on the 3rd of July, and it puts the service live in 7 cities across 3 states: Austin, Houston, Dallas, the Bay Area, Miami, and now Orlando and Tampa. Count the map, Warband, because the map is the only thing here that cannot be faked. 4 days ago, I told you a banknote had this service running in 5 markets. Today it is 7, and 2 of those 7 opened with the human removed entirely. The car count is a figure the company withholds, and the hobbyist trackers argue over by a factor of 10. The city count is a fact on the ground, with a date on it, and they did it the day before earnings. Tesla reports after the close tonight, with the call at 5:30. They already have the record on the board. 480,126 cars delivered last quarter, up 25%, past every estimate on the street, 13.5 gigawatt hours of storage alongside it. And the stock got sold anyway when that print landed, because at the richest multiple of any of the mega caps, a good quarter is not a catalyst. Delivering steel is not what this valuation is asking about. So Musk put 2 more driverless cities on the board before a single analyst got to open his mouth. That is not a coincidence. That is a man choosing which question the room gets to ask. Now to the harder metal, because while the coin was chopping, something moved with real conviction. At 4 o'clock and 4:01 yesterday afternoon, Eastern, inside the same 60 seconds, 4 names flipped optimized trend bullish together: gold, silver, copper, and the copper miners. Not one asset turning. A cluster, and a cluster of one single kind of thing. The metals you have to dig out of the ground. That is now the regime. Our engine this morning marks gold the sole bullish anchor on the entire board. The broad market red, the Nasdaq red, the long bond red, Bitcoin red. One green flag, and it is planted in the dirt. The driver is oil, and the driver behind oil is war. Brent crude reached $91 yesterday, up roughly 17% in a month. 2 Greek-operated tankers were struck near Oman on Monday. One left adrift and burning before its crew was pulled off, and Houthi threats are pushing more ships away from the strait. Washington ended the ceasefire on the 8th of July and revoked the waiver that let Iranian oil sell on the 17th. That is the sequence, and it runs one direction. Here is the second-order truth. and it is the one the desks have not repriced yet. 10 days ago, the June inflation print came in negative, down 0.4 on the month, the first monthly decline in 6 years, the annual rate falling to 3.5%. The whole market read that as the Fed's inflation fight being won, the price pressure finally lifting. But that disinflation was almost entirely energy. It was cheap crude wearing a costume, and crude is not cheap anymore. It has gone from the high 60s in mid-June to $91 now. The input that manufactured the good news has reversed, and the metals are the first thing on the board to price what comes next. Jordi Visser of 22 Research laid the framework down plainly this month. When Fed hike positioning unwinds, it is good for gold, silver, and Bitcoin. He measured gold and Bitcoin trading at a 60-day correlation of 0.92, two assets acting as a single expression of one rate view. Watch what just happened to that. Yesterday afternoon they split. The metals went green and the coin's trend went red inside 12 hours of each other. That correlation is breaking in real time, and the money is choosing the scarcity it can weigh in its hand, while the straight is mined and a new Fed chair promises a regime change against inflation. They meet next Tuesday and Wednesday, and the market leans hard toward no move. Still beats parchment. And copper and silver are not merely war hedges here. They are the physical throat of the artificial intelligence build-out. You cannot wind a transformer or run a gigawatt of switchgear without them, and 22V has been calling this a mineral supercycle rather than an oil one for months. That cluster, turning green together, is scarcity repricing itself across a whole category at once. Which brings me to a debt paid. On Monday afternoon, our engine fired 15 names mean reversion oversold inside a 15-minute window. The grid, the power, the silicon. And I told you yesterday morning that was a category error, a crowded trade taking a blow to the ribs and staying on its feet. Yesterday the tape agreed. The semiconductor index rose better than 5% in a single session, unwinding a week that had been the sector's worst in over a year. Micron ran better than 10% on a forecast that artificial intelligence memory prices climb a quarter from here, and the signal kept working after the bell. Synopsys and Cadence, the two houses that designed the chips themselves, both fired oversold at 401. Underneath the bounce, the physical build never paused. A Taiwanese manufacturer opened a $700 million American plant yesterday to build NVIDIA's newest superchip, and NVIDIA disclosed a 9% stake in a cloud provider on a Monday filing. Oversold is not the same thing as broken. That is what the signal is for. So carry this into the day, Warband. Bitcoin's trend is red and whipsawing. Respect the chop, do not chase, and note that the money quietly kept coming anyway. 5 straight sessions of net inflows into the spot funds. $727 million. BlackRock out front. The hard metals turned green as one, while the straight burned. And Tesla put 2 driverless cities on the board before it had to face a single question. Tonight the questions come. After the close, autonomy is the only answer that matters. Stack the things they cannot print, cannot copy, and cannot undig. This is Warband as a service. Viking intelligence delivered in real time. I am Ragnar, the HODLBARBARIan. Until tomorrow, hold the long horizon. Skål.